Hi, I'm Drew, and I'm an amateur model builder. I'm building a layout in my basement called the White River Line, inspired by the Frisco Railroad in the Ozarks. In this episode, I'm going to be working here on the peninsula on the layout. Now, if you remember from my previous design videos, this peninsula is going to be an industrial area on the layout. And I need to do a little bit of testing over here to make sure that the radiuses I have planned for the track are actually going to work. See if it's going to give me any operational issues. After I've kind of finalized the design here, I'm hoping to get started on some of the track work here. So let's jump on into it. Before I get started at the layout, I need to finish up some work on some switches. First, I need to trim the excess rail. I'm not sure this is 100% necessary, but I feel like it should make track laying easier. I made a little spacer with some scrap styrene to help speed this process along. This spacer is approximately half the length of a rail joiner. Next, I need to add some over-center spring switches for manual control of these switches until I get switch machines installed. To do this, first, I center the switch points using a couple of PC ties as shims. Next, I mark the center of the throw bar and the PC tie behind the throw bar. I made a spacer for this as well. After making a couple of these springs that didn't work quite as well as I'd like, I figured out that the placement of these marks is the most crucial part of the process. You need to make sure that the mark on the throw bar is outside the mark on the PC tie when the throw bar is in each position. I drilled a couple of holes on these marks to accept the spring. Next, I take a bit of piano wire and bend it about 30 degrees. Then I center the bend between the two holes and mark the position of the holes on the wire. I bend two legs down at 90 degrees, adjusting them as necessary. Then I place the legs in the holes in the switch. The angle can be adjusted so the legs are at the proper distance apart. Finally, I trim and file the legs. Before moving on, I took a minute to check the electrical continuity of these switches and to make sure that the rails and the frog were electrically isolated. Now I'm ready to move over to the layout and get to work on finalizing this track plan. Let's take a quick minute to look at what I've already got. Here on the left, I've laid down the main line up through the curve in the upper corner, and I've drawn out the yard. Now I'm working on this bottom section and the peninsula, and specifically trying to figure out if I can actually make this Y turnaround work. I rolled out the plan I drew up in episode 18 for reference. You can find a link to that video above. In that previous video, I had laid out the tangent track on the bottom of the layout. Now I went ahead and extended that tangent track through the liftgate and added the tangent track on the right side of the layout. I did this mainly so I could lay out the curve in the corner and figure out where I needed to place the switch on the right side for this Y. So I went ahead and drew in this curve and its easements. I grabbed the turnouts I'm using and some flex track and spent a little bit of time messing around. I think that if I center this Y switch on the peninsula between where the two switches come off the main line, I'll be able to maximize the radii for the legs of the Y. I played around a bit with my cardboard templates for a 15-inch radius, an 18-inch radius. And after a bit, it seems like I'm going to be stuck with a 15-inch radius. However, I'm not really sure if the equipment I'm running on my layout will handle a 15-inch radius curve. So let's test it out. I drew up and then laid out a 15-inch curve with rather long easements using my flex track. Well, it keeps derailing. Maybe I shouldn't have put a joint in the middle of the curve. I'll adjust it and see if that is the problem. Nope. A 15-inch radius is just not going to work with my 280 locomotive. Let's see how this locomotive does with an 18-inch radius curve. I tried it at several different speeds and it runs beautifully. Well, I'm going to go back to doing some tinkerings and see if I can make this work at all. I really don't want to give up on adding this Y to my layout. But try as I might, I couldn't get this to work as is. I figured I had three options. 1. Abandon the idea of having a Y turnaround on the layout. 2. Build some curved switches. Or 3. I could narrow the radius of the curves on the main line and make a bit more room. I decided to go with option 3. After playing around with my templates, I determined that a 22-inch radius curve would work and give me the space that I need for this Y. I drew them on the layout and then added the switch and the legs for the Y. I went back and traced this final design with a marker, just to make sure I didn't get confused later. There's a lot of pencil lines on this foam. Next, I started playing with the remaining design based on the work I'd done previously. I already know that I'll be building a lumber yard and millwork at the top of the peninsula, so I placed my template there.
Every singer needs a song. Every bell cries out to be around. Every dog wanna wag its tail. Life ain't nothing but a pilgrim trail. Every message needs a dove, and everything grows with a drop of love. We're all hanging on tooth and nail. It's a rocky road, this pilgrim trail.
As I looked at the section to the right of the Y here, I realized I could squeeze in one more industry. An 18-inch radius over to that section should work just fine. For me, working with these switches and flex track in real life has been really helpful to dial in the design. Since I've never built a model railroad before, playing it out on the computer was a good start, but it's been a little bit too abstract. I drew the track plan on the layout. For this 18-inch radius curve, I used the bendy stick method for placing my easements. The template I've used from Mallory's Trackwork Handbook only goes down to 20-inch radius curves. You can find more information about the bendy stick method over at Ron's Trains and Things. I'll leave a link below. Then I started laying down some cork roadbed. I'll transition from a 1/4 inch roadbed on the main line to 1/8 inch roadbed on the branch into the industrial area. I noticed my cork was cut a little unevenly here, so I replaced it. I had hoped to get to some track laying in this video, but designing this wide took quite a while. Plus, I'm waiting to get some more tie jigs printed. If you've enjoyed this video, please leave a like below. It's one of the best ways you can support my channel, along with subscribing. And if you'd like to support me further, I've got a link to an Amazon wish list below too. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook. Thanks for joining me. I'll be continuing with track work here on the peninsula in my next video. So, please join me again next time as I continue modeling the White River Line.